I have a confession to make. I love Comic Sans. And you know what? I'm tired of denying it. For years, we've been constantly told not to use Comic Sans, that we should avoid it like the plague. It is scorned by your English teachers and by every graphic designer ever. In fact, it is referred to in the graphic design community as a boogeyman, a biblical figure of nightmarish proportions. But I think Comic Sans stands as a martyr in the universe of bad fonts. Today, I want to talk with you about the origins of Comic Sans, its rise to fame, and its rise to infamy. Come with me as we talk about the rise and downfall of Comic Sans. So everyone has heard of Comic Sans, right? Now, if you've spent any amount of time in the graphic design world, you've definitely heard a few horror stories. But really, where does it come from? Well, it comes from this one fellow named Vincent Conner. Conner made it for a Microsoft program named Bob. Microsoft Bob's goal was to provide a unique and familiar interface to a user that might be new to computers. This interface was designed exactly like a home, and objects around it, like a calendar or a clock, would lead to different programs and windows. Yeah, I want you to guess where the calendar led. I bet you can't. Anyway, among all the icons and, alarm clocks and stuff like that, there were assistants, little mascots that would help you get integrated with your computer. And one of these mascots was a dog, a little small cartoonish dog. And he spoke in Times New Roman. And if you know that font, that is a very professional, very not cute font. And the dog was very much supposed to be a cute mascot. So Conner saw this and he was like, well, what if we just, hear me out here, what if we just make a font for him? And thus, Comic Sans was born. Now that we're all acquainted with Comic Sans, you may be wondering, that wasn't so bad. Why do people hate it? And relax, I'm getting into that. Before we do, let me introduce you to something terrifying. Gen X and Millennials. These generations were very new to computers and their faculties, and understandably, they didn't use them to their fullest. One of these new faculties were different fonts and typefaces. So when they saw that cute and cartoony font, most didn't think about how it would affect their paper and used it anyway. Everything, not everything, but a lot of things, emails, papers, college essays, none were safe from the ignorant gaze of the millennials. Scary stuff. Now, actual designers like Vincent Conner saw this and were like, wait a minute, you can't do that. So they started a whole movement to ban Comic Sans. It was called Ban Comic Sans, and it gained traction slowly up into the mid-2010s, where suddenly the script changed, and it went from being this font that everyone used to a font that everyone hated, and if you used it, you would die. You would die if you used Comic Sans. You wouldn't, but your career certainly would. But after years of being called a crappy font, I want to answer the question, is this really true? There's no denying that Comic Sans has a certain mob mentality around it. If you walk into a room and ask someone what their least favorite font is, there's a good chance it's Comic Sans. But I think that we should give it a second chance, really, because every font has a purpose. And if you misutilize that purpose, you end up with a bad font. Like you wouldn't use a military classified font like Black Ops for a very cute and innocent setting. And you wouldn't use Press Start Player 2, a pixelized font in a prehistoric setting, because that's jarring to the viewer. The same goes for Comic Sans. Comic Sans was meant to be a font used with cute characters in a comic-like setting. And if you misutilize that, you end up with a bad font. Now, after years of this, Comic Sans is now just generally considered a bad font because of all this misuse, and not a lot of people have used it right. In fact, people have, over the years, used it so wrong that it garnered this almost legendarily bad status, kind of like the Logan Paul apology video. And now, to answer the question, is Comic Sans bad? No. Have people been using it wrong, and is its status deserved? In some cases, yes. Using Comic Sans for your college essays is a surefire way to fail. But I think the beauty of font types and typography is that every font has a space, including Comic Sans. I'm RTX Human, and thank you for watching this video. Goodbye.